The story opens with a boy named Errol sharing lunch with his family. His father is surprised by how relaxed he seems, admitting that he himself couldn't sleep from the excitement of wondering what hero class his son would receive. Errol's mother expresses her own eagerness, while his older sister confidently claims that her brother will surpass all of his peers. Their mother even adds that Errol's charm will win over many girls, which makes his sister anxious at the thought of losing him to others. Despite their enthusiasm, Errol remains grounded, believing he'll probably just be ordinary. In his world, hero classes are blessings given by a higher power when children reach the age of 10, granting them special skills and roles. During the blessing ceremony at school, the priest begins with the first student. Placing his hand on the boy's forehead, he reveals a vision of fire and hammers, marking the boy as a blacksmith. Joyfully, the child rushes back to his father. One by one, the priest continues with the rest of the students. When Errol's turn arrives, his sister insists he'll surely receive something extraordinary. As he steps forward, the crowd whispers with envy, convinced he'll inherit advanced classes like his parents, Farah, the sword princess, and Leon, the archmage. Closing his eyes, Errol waits for a vision, but nothing appears. Shocked, the priest declares him classless, a rare anomaly. His family's excitement instantly collapses, and disappointment fills the air. They see his future as ruined, labeling him talentless. The following day, Errol practices basic swordsmanship. His parents reassure him that they won't cast him out, while he insists he doesn't want to burden them. His sister promises to stay by his side. Errol reminds them he's been training with his mother all along, so even without a class, he can still contribute. Privately, though, he admits she's far too strong, often overwhelming him in practice. His wisdom and determination impress his parents, with his mother praising his maturity and his father hopeful he might still build a career. Tired of their doting, Errol slips away to train alone. At the practice grounds, he spots two swordsman-class students sparring. Curious, they ask why he's there without a class. Calmly, Errol replies that he's there to train just like them. They laugh, explaining they don't even need to practice since their class naturally grants them skill. To prove their point, they resume sparring, showing off their sharp movements. Errol, intrigued, asks to duel them. One boy mocks him for daring to challenge a swordsman without a class, but Errol insists he doesn't need one. Feeling insulted, the boy accepts the challenge, determined to put him in his place. Before they begin, he reminds Errol about the protection blessing, a temporary shield all children are born with that regenerates when not taking damage. Errol confirms he still has it, assuring that he won't die in the fight, and tells the boy to prepare for their duel. Frustrated by Errol's calm defiance, the boy lunges forward and swings his sword, only to be stunned when Errol effortlessly parries the strike. He slashes again, but Errol sidesteps and locks his blade in another counter. Watching the duel, the boy's partner laughs, thinking he's just toying with Errol, and urges him to end it quickly. But the boy admits that defeating Errol isn't so simple. As the clash continues, the boy realizes he can't win alone and calls his partner to join in. The second boy leaps from behind, but Errol senses the attack and evades it smoothly. When the two start bickering over their failed attempt, Errol notices their teamwork is non-existent. Seizing the moment, he darts in. The boys brace themselves, but Errol suddenly disappears from their line of sight, reappears beneath one of them, and knocks him out cold with a sharp punch to the jaw. The other stumbles over his fallen friend, giving Errol the perfect chance to finish him off too. With both opponents on the ground, Errol calmly declares his victory. Enraged, they accuse him of striking while their guard was down and demand a rematch. Errol shrugs and agrees, but before they can start again, another voice interrupts. A red-haired boy warns them not to make excuses, reminding them that on a real battlefield, such weakness means death. Calling them a disgrace to swordsmen, he steps forward. One of the fallen boys tries to protest, but is quickly silenced by his partner, who reminds him of the redhead's high status. The boy walks straight to Errol and asks if he is the son of the famed sword princess Farah. When Errol nods, the redhead acknowledges his skill, though he adds that his earlier opponents were just novices. Pointing his blade at Errol, he challenges him to a real fight, vowing to demonstrate the true strength of a swordsman. The other boys whisper, wondering if this is Evan's son, the captain of the village guard. The redhead confirms, and Errol recalls his mother often working with Evan on monster hunts. Studying him, Errol thinks the boy looks far too delicate to be Evan's son and wonders if he'll eventually grow into his father's rugged features. With trembling shoulders, the redhead praises his father's power and wisdom, but bitterly claims that Farah unjustly stole his title as the village's strongest. Errol instantly realizes the boy's hostility stems from jealousy of his mother. Embarrassed at being called out, the redhead demands to know if Errol feels the same. Errol calmly affirms that his mother truly is the strongest in the village. Scowling, the boy declares that he inherited his father's unmatched talent and will prove his family's superiority by defeating him. After studying his emotions, the redhead explains he became a swordsman a year ago and has trained under his father's strict guidance ever since, leaving no room for defeat. Errol replies that his mother's training has made him just as formidable, and he won't lose either. Both raise their swords. The redhead strikes first, Errol parries, and soon they are locked in a fierce exchange of blows. The two boys watching are stunned. Errol, despite having no class, is keeping pace with someone far stronger. As the redhead's sword slices through the air, Errol acknowledges his strength, but also sees how recklessly his anger fuels him. Waiting for the right moment, Errol counters, but his opponent suddenly unleashes the twin slice technique, driving him back into a wall. Though Errol blocked the first strike, the second cuts through, leaving him injured. Finally losing his composure, Errol demands to know about the boy's ability. The redhead explains that it's a special swordsman class technique, something a classless person like Errol shouldn't be able to block. Errol, however, refuses to accept that. He resolves to master it through relentless training, earning a small nod of respect from his opponent for his determination. A few days later, Errol is found sleeping in late. His sister leans in, intending to wake him with a kiss, but he stirs just in time, pushing her away with his head. Offended, she demands an apology kiss as he leaves his room for breakfast. At the table, their mother greets them with a smile, and the family begins their meal. Curious, his sister asks if he plans to train again. When he nods, she becomes upset, insisting that he should rest and rely on her support instead. Errol brushes her off and departs, leaving her frustrated and confused by his newfound drive. Sensing her daughter's concern, Farah pulls her outside and reveals a chest filled with broken swords, proof of how intensely Errol has been training these past days. Shocked, his sister listens as their mother expresses pride, saying the duel with other children clearly ignited something in him. Inspired by his determination, his sister also feels more hopeful, though she quietly wishes for a world where classless people like her brother are treated equally. Farah warmly encourages this noble dream. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, Errol practices alone. He hacks at a tree before stepping back, focusing his stance and unleashing the twin slice technique he'd once seen from the redhead. Executing it cleanly, he feels proud of his progress. To him, the pain of losing was worth it. But he isn't alone. A goblin lurking in the bushes leaps at him with a club. Without hesitation, Errol turns and cuts it down using the same technique, smiling at his growing power. Suddenly, a massive roar shakes the forest. A hobgoblin emerges. Errol is about to alert the village guards when a scream pierces the air. Recognizing the voice, he decides there's no time to call for help. Someone's life is on the line. Gripping his sword, he dashes into the woods and soon spots the red-haired boy cornered, his arm bleeding heavily. Towering above him is a hobgoblin, clearly the leader drawn out after the boy defeated some lesser goblins. As the monster raises its weapon for the final blow, Errol positions himself at the perfect angle. With a deep breath, he launches forward. The redhead thinks it's the end, until Errol cuts through the hobgoblin with a flawless twin slice, dropping the beast in an instant. As the dust settles, Errol realizes he has finally mastered the technique's footwork. The injured boy tries to walk, but collapses into Errol's arms. Seeing that his protective blessing has worn off, Errol asks if he has holy water. The boy glances at his shattered flask on the ground. Without hesitation, Errol offers his own. After drinking it, the boy's wounds close, and he regains his strength, though not without frustration at Errol's rapid growth. Thanking him for the water, The redhead asks again about the technique. Calmly, Errol reminds him it's simply a twin slice. Still bewildered, the boy presses him. How could someone without a class learn such a skill? Since normal people aren't supposed to master class techniques, the redhead is baffled when Errol admits he only succeeded by pushing himself to the limit. Still skeptical, he listens as Errol explains that he studied the timing and footwork carefully until the skill finally clicked. More surprising, Errol adds that his opponent himself was the biggest help. After enduring the technique countless times, he learned how to replicate it. Overwhelmed by the revelation, the boy hears Errol declare that all of his training has been for their inevitable rematch. Impressed by such resolve, the redhead accepts. When Errol asks if he's certain, the boy insists